Yeah, thank you, Mr. Larona, for that wonderful presentation. So, I think we had three presentations on the same topic, and now we invite your comments, suggestions, feedback on this important topic of response burden management. The floor is open. Any questions? Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. I have a comment on Martin's presentation because you mentioned a very interesting topic, which is the political support, and if you should contact or not the political side of this equation. Well, yesterday during the dinner, I was talking with some colleagues and to show what a specific situation that we have in Portugal that was just possible to this great political support that we had in the past. Since 2006 in Portugal, we don't collect anymore the structural business statistics because we have access to the all annual accounting data from all the enterprises in Portugal. So this is something that we implement in 2006 with the Taxes Administration, Statistics Portugal, and the Bank of Portugal. And we work together in order to adapt all the taxes and the data that the enterprises send to the Taxes Administration in order to take into account the statistical needs, our concepts, our definitions, and also the additional data and the additional breakdowns that were needed for Statistics Portugal and for the Bank of Portugal by that time. So during the last 20 years, we are not collecting anymore this kind of information. And this is something that we were working with for a long time ago, and it was just possible in that year because we had a very strong political support. Because in fact, we are not able to do this alone. We need someone that help us, that support us, because even though our intentions are the best and we have the best ideas, we cannot do it alone. So having this political support is really relevant and makes the difference when we want to reduce the burden on enterprises. So I think it was very interesting that you mentioned this topic. Thank you.
Yeah, Christina, and yeah, please, Stefan.
Yes, thank you. I'm much in favor of this idea of including this topic into the handbook. And as to involving policymakers, in Germany, we have not made so good experiences with this. Policymakers tend to be a little bit short-sighted with this topic and just thinking of increasing cutoff limits or skipping statistics. And I think that this is a task which is, as the colleague from Botswana said, it's a cross-cutting task, and it has to be seen in a long-term perspective. And digitalization, not only of statistics, but also of tax administrations, thinking of e-invoices and all these things have to come together here and have to be worked on a long-term basis. Thank you.
Yes, Carolina.
Well, I totally agree to include this topic at the handbook. Totally agree with that. It's a problem nowadays to the long response of the questioners. Both Martin and Christina said something about the enterprise centric or the relevant companies. Well, we in Argentina, we are in touch always with them. They know that we need the information, so they don't have options. But we give them something, for example, one example. We tell them the ranking they are at their activity, for example. They know the first one, maybe they know where they are, but not the second one or the third one or the fourth one. So every year they change the position, so they want to know about that. Only the position, no numbers, no telling the other. Yes, only that. That's an strategy. Political strategy, we use it, yes, with groups of
Конечно, семинар, с одной
industrials
стороны, нормальное время
or
проходит, но у нас его
commerce or
не бывает.
something, we invite to Arctic Deck, we have a meeting and we explain everything, and they know
Нет,
that they
все,
have
завтра
to
полдня последний, но тут же
answer
Светка,
the
блин,
questions.
уходит. Я
So they have to
звонила,
help with.
слышишь, ты одна все делаешь?
Нет, а кто мне сделает
It's
это?
Это
interesting to
ужас
think
какой-то. Эти девки,
that
сколько их не дай,
this
все равно все
topic,
сами
the
делаешь.
RPM,
Кто мне,
maybe
вот мне
would be
Юлечка,
structured by the
Юлечка,
GSCPM.
молодец.
And the
Раз
other
она,
part,
раз она
I
это такая
tried
креативная,
the
ты ж
first
не
day I talked
разрешишь,
about the
естественно,
GSBPM
если ей
model.
это в
It's
радость. Потому что
really
мои
a good
девушки
tool
сразу тускнеют,
to
они не хотят говорить.
compile the
Да.
IIPs.
Я, значит, тут, вот
The
я специально
electronic
говорю,
questionnaires,
21 год,
Martin, you
если мы
mentioned
возьмем
the
эти, которые с
electronic
объемными
questionnaires
льдом, да,
Да.
for
получается
Argentina
миллион четыреста, а у
gives
вас 2 200,
good
да?
results,
Там еще 800 тысяч
really good
мочевина.
results.
Вы ее не приводите.
Ну, давай
And
поделим.
it's
Смотрите,
important
какое.
to
Вот я
cut
хочу
the
дадите
questionnaire.
вот
I have
вот
anecdote. I'm in
Видите,
charge of
вот
the
здесь у
agriculture
меня в
center,
натуре сразу
agriculture
рост
census 8 years
в
ago.
натуре.
ой,
It
в
was a
деньгах,
large
а в натуре у
questionnaire,
меня
really
7
large. It's very,
Вот.
very
Вот, я это
important
ее
in the
знаю, защититься
agriculture
на твой
activity
трактор,
in
я хотела
Argentina.
своих.
So when I went to the
Супер, они
Congress, because
подорожали. Весь
deputies
раз.
and
Или наоборот
senator
были
have to
подешевле.
approve
Были,
the
Ну,
budget,
неважно, но
they want to put a
да,
lot of
теперь
questions
смотри,
there. And I don't say no. I said 1 million per question, no problem.
деньги, это,
1 million more per
короче,
question, no problem. They
а
have,
это тоже
and they
деньги.
said, no, we don't
да,
need that
Это
question.
количество
No, I
денег.
know that you don't need that
деньги
question.
гораздо выше. Мы возьмем
Because
всех.
you put at risk another important question that you had to keep the answer, you know?
Разделить
Well, that's it.
Алло.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Да,
And
следующий.
just to add on to the issue, I would also like to highlight that this political considerations can work in both ways. Of course, you
Так,
need, for
что
example, in Portugal case, you got a good political support to ensure that you get the tax data and banks data to be able to do away with the response burden. On a similar thing, nowadays in India, we have a concept called
Так,
ease of doing
ЧП,
business.
но там же оно
And
кусочками,
as part of
наверное.
that,
Там же
government
разные
doesn't want that
есть.
enumerators should go and collect the data. And
Тут
that's why when
есть только
the one
то,
way
что
of measuring this response burden in India we are considering
да.
is how many returns one company
Там
or
будет
establishment or
полная
factory has
копия.
to file to provide the data.
Полная.
And that tells us how
То
much
есть все
response
его
burden
филиалы
is
суммируются на
there.
юрлицо. А
So
здесь,
this is one part.
здесь,
Second
а
part
откуда у
is
тебя? Оно же не
that in
формируется.
case of household surveys, we go to the household and we collect the data. And again, if for, say, for example, for collecting
Программки
consumption data, your
сформировались, что
question
это
is very big. You have maybe hundreds of
ну, то есть это
items, and
автоматически.
in one sitting, it requires maybe 2 hours or so.
Можно.
So how do you deal with that?
Я просто хочу
So there,
понять,
the concept of kind of randomizing the questionnaires and maybe dividing it into 2, 3 parts, and then randomly allocating to the
сбрось, пожалуйста,
households
этот паспорт, я
and
сейчас
the
возьму, проштрафую
collecting the
еще.
information. So those kind of concepts are also being tried in India to ensure that this response burden is really minimized
Но
on households
оно
as well as
все
on
заложено, что
industries. So I
оно
think we have to find some
там
novel
будет
ways
полный
of
лист.
working around this topic, and this is a very important topic, and we should consider as part of our guidelines how to best
Нашему
collect this
сотруднику
data with
статьи
minimum intervention at
например,
different levels. So with
Цифры
that,
так
we come to the close of this
там
particular
находится
session on
наше
the.
юрлицо, на него собирается все, что нашлось.
Ну, а
И
как
там
Света? У меня
We
что,
move
12
on
минут?
to the next topic,
нет.
which is
Я вот
big data and new data sources.
у
And
нее,
we have two
оно-то
presenters
только
here.
тех, кого
So
нашло,
I would
того
request first one,
использовало,
Mr.
но
H.M.
перед
Firoz, to make
предприятием
his presentation
исполнили
first.
решительный сбор, оно кого нашло, того
Это в
собрало.
паспорте, оно правильно собрало, оно собрало.
Оно собрало, но это не полное предприятие,
Конечно.
потому что в 12П нету
Ну,
всех
как вам? И
филиалов.
мы не знаем, какие объемы были у других, если вы нам еще отчитывали.
А мы, да,
Гипотетически. Это у вас не 12 минут.
этот, хорошо, короче, в 2 раза.
0,99 и 99.
Слышишь, а это мы должны на визу отдать?
Да.
Надо отксерить, это же ценные данные.
Да, это, по-моему, вы мне дали, значит, это завизировано. Да, у меня свой листочек есть.
Так, можно... Ладно, это я не отдам, это с Таней буду обсуждать.
Хорошо.
А Таня там свободная, она пошла к Жиголева.
Пошла к Жиголеву.
С чем?
С алкоголем.
С алкоголем. Это важно.
Ой.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My topic is big data and new data sources for industrial statistics. The outlines of my presentation is definition of big data, guidelines for big data in industrial statistics, challenges, and relevance to SNF 2025, practices of big data using, questionnaire, questions and answers.
У нас же заложено теперь для имен.
Big data, we have so many big data definitions from that
какое-то собралось,
just
но оно, конечно, собралось только
get
из тех
data
филиалов, которые
definition.
по выборке.
Big data refers to
То есть я
extremely
правильно
large,
понимаю, что
complex,
даже
and
если у нас
fast-growing
12
datasets
кусочки, юрлицо
that are
соберется из
difficult
этих
difficult
кусочков.
or
Даже несмотря на
impossible
то,
to
что у нас
process
головы в наши
using traditional data
справочники.
processing tools.
Но вот это, но из-за того, что мы вот это из
Specifically,
регистра
high
выгружаем полное,
is,
да,
we say,
оно на
volume,
него
velocity,
смотрит, когда
veracity, and
То есть оно смотрит на вот этот список из
these five
ЕСДС,
V's
да,
are
когда
considered
юрлицо
as
собирает.
big data in a simple
Потому что, помнишь, раньше оно
sentence or
смотрело на
word
список
sentence.
12П, и оно бы не собрало, нам были бы куски.
What are the main guidelines for big data?
Ну то есть этот алгоритм
I use here
остался.
international recommendation for
Ну все, только
industrial
что мы
statistics,
понимаем, что цифра
that is IRIS.
неполная.
Also in international recommendations
Все,
for the index of industrial production and the other you can guidelines system of national accounts 2025.
The slide, perhaps.
Год надо оставить. Тут
Год
все-таки
как
Which slide you are?
Я просто хочу
You
сейчас...
please see on the screen, and then you can guide us so that we can move the slide as per your. Yeah.
Ну да,
Next.
наверное, у всех.
This is done. Yeah.
Ну вот, а нам говорят, что
Next.
надо что?
This slide.
Previous one.
Previous.
Previous one. Go back one slide.
Yeah, go back one slide. Back.
Наверное, как репетиция, который не
Yeah,
работает.
this one.
It's,
Main
it's
guidelines.
completed.
Okay, next.
Слушайте.
Так,
And the category of the topics here also conception and methodological and data compilation also and conceptual some issues are here and also some methodological issues I will discuss later these issues. And topic status is also existing topics, that is D6 IR under revision and related frameworks, system of national accounts SNA 2008 and SDG indicator framework are using.
Что-то сотворили, блин. Я это напугала.
In priority level, in global sense, it is of course high priority, and for national level in Bangladesh, it's also high priority topic.
Помню, что со словом серв, правильно? Или у них тут... СРВ 0, раз... все, помню, что 0,3, а это... И вот здесь...
Actually, I changed some of my slides. Those are not in here, so it's okay. I will continue. Next, please. No. Previous slide. Previous? Yes, okay. For introduction, why actually big data for industrial statistics? Actually, for industrial statistics, big data for two issues, I think. Availability of big data and also integrating data sources. We know the increasing availability of big data and alternative data sources such as administrative tools, scanner data, satellite imagery, digital platform data offers new opportunities for enhancing industrial statistics. These sources can improve timeliness, granularity, and coverage compared to traditional surveys. And for integrating data sources, uh, integrated various data sources into official statistics present conceptual, methodological, and institutional challenges. In context of National Accounts 2025, there is a growing need to capture digital economy activities and cross-border uh, production using non-traditional data sources. Next, please.
Получается,
Не
да,
попало.
We have some conceptual challenges in big data because you know the lack of clear definition for big data. There is so many definitions, so a unified definition we need, and difficulty aligning big data with statistical units and some classification. So we also need to align big data with statistical units. Next, please. And what are the methodological challenges? We have some methodological challenges in big data. We can say in data quality, it's very big, so there is biasness, coverage errors, and
Ну вот этот вот же вы, и
representativeness,
это разбирали
lack of
немножко
representatives
Акша,
there. So this is a challenge,
Павловичами,
and
вот.
lack of
Именно
standard
они
estimation for
копейки пазят.
methods,
То
which
есть из
methods or
всего,
which
что мы
estimation methods will follow.
перечислили, да,
We need
попало
to
только
identify,
ЖБК.
and integration with
Но
traditional survey data. We need
сейчас
to
я еще
integrate this big
кое-что
data,
сделаю, чтобы
how to integrate with
но
traditional survey data.
недостаточно,
Next,
может
please.
достаточно этой ЖБК этого.
And what are the challenges for operational challenges in big data? Um, as we have so many private sectors, and these sectors are owned by private ownership, so it's a big challenge for access. So limited access in private sector data, and legal and confidentiality constraints. So which legal or which act they will impose for collecting big data, and confidentiality issues is also there. Private sector owners, they sometimes not trust on the people or the who are collecting the data, so it's also a confidential issue for the private sector enterprises or industries. And technical capacity gaps in developing countries. You know, the developing countries, they are as they are developing, so there are some issues like technical capacity, how they will handle this data. Next, please. Is it a relevance to SNA 2025? As we are discussing on SNA 2025, there is issues on digital production. So it is
Если
how we
сравнить
will
их
measure
дата, тогда вот
this
так вот все.
data
То есть
in
ЖБК
digital
вот
production,
как
and
вот. Ну,
capturing
либо вы
data
в
as an
полном
economic asset. It also
вот
considered
в
as
этой
an
части,
economic asset, and
короче,
also improving estimates for
запасы и
informal
производство.
and unregistered activities. So it is should be aligned with
Ну
SNA
вот, говорю
2025,
промышленность
these three
показала
things.
нам
And is also
раз,
exist,
два,
we
три,
can see.
четыре филиала.
Next, please.
Получается, у нас только
What are the
ЖКИ.
practices we are practicing
У нас
in big data
получается
in
самый крупный, в
sense of
принципе.
developed
Вот
countries? In
этот
developed
завод у
countries,
нас
there
филиал,
is
он
a
самый
scope
крупный.
to
Но
use
есть
scanner
еще
data for
Лондон,
price and production
Лондон
lines.
больше
So developing
получается
countries, they are using
это
it,
за
and
прошлый
some
год.
satellite
Меня
data for
25-го
industrial
просто еще
activity
нет.
monitoring. Satellite data they are also using, and web
Но
scraping for business
расчеты
activity
опять-таки
indicators, which is
неправильно.
also
Хотя
very
он
difficult, but they are
преобладающий,
somehow they are using this data
он
also.
преобладающий, Ну
Next, please.
давай, сейчас Таня пошла к Жигареву, давай, если
And developing
у
countries like
меня после другой
Bangladesh and
нет
other
25
countries,
года.
we actually we are using big data very limited use
Ну,
because we
понимаешь,
have
что
some
это
constraints. We have the
цифра,
resource constraints,
да,
manpower
то есть,
constraints, and some technical issues also there. So
да,
we
то есть
are in
с
limited use
учетом
in big data
того,
and
что
heavy
ну,
reliance
вот это
on
вот
surveys and
память
sensors.
уже
So throughout
имеется.
the
Вот это
year, we
монтаж.
are
Вот у нас
performing or
выпадает,
we are
получается,
doing
еще
so
два
many sensors and surveys all
дня.
around the
Вот
year,
это
but
такой,
we
ну
are not
ничего,
all the
готов,
time
конечно, процентов 100,
using big data,
86%
which is
логин, если
available
это было
in some
26
cases, but
долларов.
we do not know how to handle this data smoothly.
Может
So
и
we need to
ничего.
input at this
А в
area.
25-м
And
вот это, ну оно
early
тоже
stage
Нет,
exploration of administrative
его уже
data.
не
We
будет
also have
25, будет
administrative data that is
24 он
tax,
Ашка.
VAT, other
Может он что-то еще
other private
покажет, но
sector
меньше.
хорошо, а
data, but
другие
we are
предприятия?
in a limited access in this
Ну,
data,
ну
and
вот
we are
пример.
very
Ну вот смотри, примерно
limit
оно так и
using
будет.
this
Вот это
data,
основное
limited using.
предприятие.
So
Оно порядка больше
we need to
80%
focus on this
занимается.
limitation.
Здесь вот этот вот осталось два
Next, please.
предприятия. Вот это спецстроймонтаж
What can be the
и
emerging
вот
practices in
какое-то
big data?
управление
We need
механизацией.
private-public partnership. We can
У меня
we
просто
can
нету такой
go
таблички
through
на
an
25
agreement or
надо
very
попросить
uh,
Володю сделать.
smooth using how to enter or access to the private sector data or to the private sector. They can also get data from the public sector. How
Слухай,
we
а
can
можно
perform
кого-то
or
сразу
смoothly do
попросить,
this.
а то
So
у
we
меня
need to
на
consider
производстве
these
по
areas
вот этому
and also
большому
use mobile
годовому
and
вашей
transaction
программе
data. This
годовой,
data is
которая
also
МТС обычная,
accessible,
да,
and we need to
сформировать нашу
know how
промышленную
to
табличку
use
по
this data.
юрлицу по одному в разрезе
Next, please.
балансодержателей. Могу попросить
Some of
кого-то
the
из вас?
question can be discussed here. I have
Она
some
на месте
questions, and
там,
also
расскажи.
I give answer to this question, and also can be discussed here. Next, please.
Алло, Машенька, привет. Слухай, можешь мне сформировать одну табличку из вашей этой большой программы? Я тебе скажу какую. И по условию, по 8 знаков одному
What
предприятию.
types of big data are most suitable for industrial statistics?
Смотри, записывай
For
8
industrial
знаков.
statistics,
01.
what types of
Ну,
data
по
we can use? We
юрлицу.
can use big
В
data in
условии,
all
в условии сделать
areas. We
8
have big
знаков.
data, but what data we should consider? Especially administrative
Нет,
data. It's
я имею в виду объединенную
recorded.
программку, в которой
It's
все
in
есть.
tax office. It's in customs office, VAT office, and social security data in some
Нет,
cases.
есть,
So we can
есть.
use
Ну,
these
либо
data.
собственные, ну,
Also, we have
называются
sensor
есть.
data,
Но
transaction
мы
data,
берем ту,
and
которая у нас там
also
есть.
related with
Короче, там в
customs
условия
and tax
заходишь,
data.
выбираешь по организации на 8 знаков, их вводишь, и
Next,
дальше
please.
бежишь в нужную табличку.
It's
Короче,
okay.
в условиях поставить, да.
How how
Заходим в
can
таблицу по
data quality
условиям,
and
там цифры
reliability be
закладываем.
ensured?
Короче,
Data in all
8
senses we
знаков.
can use
12,
some common
782,
techniques, that is data quality, and for reliability we say accuracy, timeliness,
782,
completeness,
81.
consistency, comparability, relevance, accessibility. All these issues should be considered in the
Правильно,
ensuring data
85
quality
год.
and reliability.
А, окей, все, я
And
хотела
what
за год
frameworks are needed
просмотреть.
for
Я хотела
integrating
за год
data,
просто
big data?
сравнить.
There is so many frameworks. So for
Да,
big
то же
data,
самое
which
сделай.
frameworks will be
Ага,
used?
спасибо.
This can be data
Сейчас это я
integration
проставлю,
methods, sampling and
сформировала.
estimation methods,
100 людей
bias
человек.
correction methods, quality assessment
Короче, тогда что,
procedures,
оставляй? Таня
standard definition
вернется,
and
если она уже включила.
classification that is considered
Лучше
in here
следующий
in
век.
IRIS, and
Осталось
important
только поговорить.
standards include,
Ага,
that
идет
is
переводить
ICIT and
27
SMA.
подачу.
We should
Слышишь, а вот
consider
это
which
вот.
framework from this
Это
which
прям
frameworks
уже
we use here.
все хорошо, все.
How can countries access private sector data while ensuring confidentiality? We know the private sector data we have used, but for confidentiality issues, they are not always accessible. So if there is any agreement with the private sector enterprises or industries, we can easily use that private sector data. So we need a strong legal framework with private sector enterprises, and also we can go through agreement, data sharing agreement with private sector, and also apply data anonymization techniques, so personal data will not be published. So it's also a good could be a good technique to get data from the private sector enterprises, and limit data uses used to purposes. So we can use statistical data only for statistical purposes, not for another purposes. If we can ensure and if we can try to understand them, this data will be used for only for statistical purpose, not for another purposes. So they will give access to their data easily. What role should international organization play in standardization? And for in standardization, what can we do? Like here, we can ISIC, International Standard Industrial Classification, we can use. We can SNA, we can classification like SNA, System of National Accounts, and also some methodological guidance provide we can, and promote harmonization across countries, which harmonization could be used throughout the world or throughout the other countries,
Не, я
and
хотела в
facilitate
разрезе
data sharing and
harmonization
cooperation.
такой, понимаешь,
What are the
эти
sharing
самые...
process
Вот
could be,
такая
and what
табличка у нас
are the
формируется в большой
cooperation
программе. Это же
could be
руки
possible for
промышленности. Именно
harmonization or for
промышленности
standardization.
руки деятельности не нужны. Вот эта табличка 1. В разрезе баланса
Some of the
содержания.
references I have used here, that is United Nations Statistics Division, IRIS, IRIP, and System of National Accounts 2025 and 8, and SDG Indicator Framework. Okay, thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now we move on to the next presentation, which is by Mr. Stefan Kapungu. So, Mr. Stefan, are you there online?
Yes, yes, I'm here. I'm ready to
Okay.
present.
Okay, thank you very much. Please share your presentation.
Ой, спасибочки. Вот это супер, мне так надо.
А паспорта эти я сейчас досмотрю, вам тоже принести.
Какие?
Красносельский материал, еще там одна какая-то.
А
Белак.
Слышишь, так ты же я просила вот такую таблицу.
Are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, please. We are able to see it. Please go ahead. Yes.
Она просто не знала.
So, good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Stephen Kakungu. I work with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and my topic is on the integration of multiple data sources for industrial statistics. I'm just sharing insight on integrating those multiple data sources so that we can be able to link what is happening in the current global priorities. And with the revision that we are doing with the IRIS, I think the call is just to integrate or to create a data system that statistical framework can be based for countries so that we can be able to integrate multiple data sources from the whole data sources that we know. In my presentation, you'll find that I will contribute towards the data compilation topic, particularly in 6 on big data and new sources, while also addressing C6 on data sources and integration, which provides the conceptual foundation. Basically, the motivation for this would be on the growing demand for more timely and granular industrial statistics, and the traditional surveys that we have. You will find that they have been costly, and especially for us in sub-Saharan Africa, you will find that most of our governments do not finance statistical activities, and so the surveys now become very slow, and again, they become often limited in coverage. And so, as a result, now we could be able to shift our statistical systems towards integrated data-driven approaches. We would be able to underscore these challenges. The reason as to why integration in this case it would matter is because we are going to improve on the accuracy and consistency. We will reduce the burden on response, like what has been presented before by Christina and the others. Then we'll enhance timeliness, and will also support evidence-based policy making, and especially in reference to SDG. If you look at my presentation, you are going to see a system whereby I've shown how we are going to have the survey data, let's say census of industrial production or survey of industrial production, and how you include with examples of administrative data like tax data, satellite data, and mobile data, so that we can be able to integrate and get into one, so that we can be able to respond to industrial indicators. So most of the sources that I'm talking about here, generally they fall under the normal surveys that we do. Secondly, we have the administrative data, especially on tax and business registers. And thirdly, and the big one, we have the big data, whereby we can include satellite and mobile data so that they all can be integrated. Each of these ones, I know they have their own strengths. And so by integration, they are going to help us to leverage on all of them together. Like in our country, you will find that one of the big challenges will be the inclusion of the informal sector. So that when we join the informal sector plus the big data and also the gaps that we have, so the main challenge would be on the measurement. And so with industrial statistics, and especially again for developing countries, it is very hard to measure the informal sector, but it is significant, but often it is under captured. And so it requires a lot of integration into our statistical frameworks. So at the same time, if we are going to involve the big data sources, that is like the mobile data, digital and satellite, we can get, or we can be offered a new source. However much there could be some key challenges in terms of how we are do our integration frameworks, how we are going to work with the metadata standards, and how we are going to clear the methodologies for validation, estimation, or the use of the alternate data and how we strengthen it. In short, I can just summarize by saying that integration is not just combining the data, but building a system within the industrial statistics. I'm also going to give the key challenges that we are likely to face as we do this integration, or as we implement data integration. In terms of data access and sharing, we could also face a problem with data quality and harmonization issues. We could also be having limited integration frameworks within the countries, and again, in terms of the capacity gaps in data science and GIS. So in Kenya, I can just summarize what we have been able to do in terms of integrating industrial statistics, whereby we would have the censuses and the surveys as our main data sources. Then from our revenue authority, we would leverage on the data from our value-added tax, the income tax, and other sources. We also have the statistical business register, whereby we also get those administrative data sources. The only challenge and the main one here is on the data linkage and in terms of the identifiers and the quality. So how we are not able to do like a good data linkage, or in terms of getting many identifiers for the data. So from this, I can give out the discussion questions that I have around 4 of them. How we can be able to harmonize administrative data with the SNA concepts. Question 2 is on the role of the statistical business register in integration. And 3, how we can be able to reliably measure the informal sector. And 4, the minimum data set that can be required for comparison. So from this presentation, as takeaways, we can talk of integration is going to be essential for our modern industrial statistics, and administrative data will be part of the backbone when we head to surveys and censuses. We'll also leverage on big data so that we can be able to improve on coverage and timeliness. And again, institutional frameworks are going to be key so that we can be able to expand on our industrial statistics. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Stefan, for a wonderful presentation and the key takeaways that you mentioned. So, with that, we have completed both the presentations on big data and new data sources. So, any comments, suggestions on the two presentations? Okay, if there are no comment suggestions, then I think we can move on to the next important topic, which is dissemination topics and other topics. Which one? special.
But we'll go back to your presentation tomorrow.
Maybe we
We
can
can
do it.
continue.
Should we continue? Because it will take. It will take some time. That is true. Okay. So then, I mean, if you don't mind. So I know that everyone wants to participate and contribute, but at the same time also we have a lot of burden to stop because there's a limited amount of capacity for us. So my suggestion is that we will try to catch up as much as possible tomorrow. Right? I mean, as much as possible. If it's not possible, we always have an online virtual meeting, right? So any topics that couldn't be presented this week, so we will add it for the next tasking meeting. I mean, we will discuss also tomorrow what is the frequency of the tasking meeting, right? I mean, we could be as frequent as 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, for example. That's maybe too much, but 1 month seems reasonable, I guess, in my opinion. And of course, it will be like around 2 hours, right, per month. So I think this should be possible, and I think it's. Uh, I mean, I think we already discussed a lot, right? And hopefully we can catch up tomorrow because I can count. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 4 left, right? So I think four. There's maximum 1 hour, right? And then the rest of the day we can discuss about our way forward. So hopefully we can catch it tomorrow. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. So we close the meeting now. Thanks.